Welcome to day one, and today listen we will understand what is HTML and why it is the foundation of every website. We will also learn how website work behind the scenes and explore the structure of HTML documents, install Visual Studio Code, and finally create our very first web page from scratch. So let's begin our web development journey. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the standard language used to build and structure web pages. Think of HTML as the skeleton of a website. It tells the browser where to display heading, text, images, links, button, and other content. So without HTML, a web page would have no structure at all. So every website you visit start with HTML. How website work? Now let's understand how website work behind the scene. First, a user enter a website address in the browser. The browser then send a request to a web server. The server receive the request and process it. If necessary, the server retrieve information from a database. After that, the server send a response back to the browser. So finally, the browser display the web page to the user. So this entire process happen in just a few seconds. And this process is called the request response cycle. HTML document structure. Every HTML page follow a basic structure. At the top, we have the doc type declaration, which tells the browser that this is an HTML5 document. Next come the HTML element, which is wrap the entire web page. Inside it, we have the head section, which contain metadata such as the page title and settings. Then come the body section, where all the visible content is placed, including heading, paragraph, images, and links. So understanding this structure is the first step toward becoming a web developer. Installing Visual Studio Code. Before we start creating website, we need a code editor. One of the most popular and beginner-friendly editor is Visual Studio Code, commonly known as VS Code. So the installation process is very simple and consists of 5 steps. And step 1, which is visit the official VS Code website using your web browser. Click the download button, then match your operating system such as Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. Once the downloading is complete, open the installer file and allow it to make changes at prompt. Follow the installation wizard by clicking next. Through the step process, you can keep the default setting or customize them according to your preference. After the installation finish, launch Visual Studio Code and you are now ready to start writing code. A useful point to remember is that Visual Studio Code is free, open source, lightweight, and support many programming languages through extension, making it is an excellent choice for web development. Creating your first web page. Now that Visual Studio Code is installed, let's create our first web page. The process involves 5 simple steps. Open Visual Studio Code on your computer. Create a new file by selecting File, New File, or by pressing Ctrl+N. Write the HTML code from your web page. And this example, we create a basic HTML document with a title, a heading that say hello world, and a paragraph say this is my first web page. This code demonstrates the basic structure of every HTML document, including the doc type declaration, HTML head and body section. And step 4, save the file with the name index.html. The .html extension tells the browser that this is an HTML document. And step 5, open the file in a web browser or use a live server extension and Visual Studio Code. The browser will display the web page with the heading hello world and the paragraph beneath it. Open the Visual Studio Code, go to the file, new file, write here the name index.html, and now simple create the file. So the file is created. So now write your first HTML code. First doc type, then HTML, so then HTML main tag. Here is the head tag. Inside a head tag the meta, title and setting. The body, inside a body header hello world and paragraph. This is my first web page. So now save. And for running, install the live server extension. Now simple go to here, write the live server and install. And then simple go to here, go to run and start debug. So now it's run. Hello world This is my first web page. Congratulations, you have successfully created your first web page. This is the foundation of web development, and every website begins with a simple HTML page like this. Hello everyone, welcome back to our HTML mastery course. Today is day 2 and we will learn one of the most important concepts in HTML, elements and tags. HTML elements are the building block of every web page. Every heading, paragraph, image, button and link that you see on a website is created using HTML elements. And this lesson we will cover 4 important topics: opening and closing tag, nested elements, empty elements and HTML syntax best practice. So let's start with opening and closing tags. Most HTML element consist of 3 parts: an opening tag, content and a closing tag. For example, here P is the opening tag, the text is the content and /P is the closing tag. The opening tag tells the browser where the element starts, while the closing tag tells the browser where it ends. So think of them like opening and closing a container that hold your content. Now let's see how element can place inside other element. HTML element can be placed inside other HTML elements. This is called nesting. For example, in this example, the strong element is nested inside the paragraph element. When nesting element always close the inner element before closing the outer element. So this create a proper parent and child structure and keep your HTML organized and easy to read. Next, let's learn about empty elements. Some HTML elements do not contain any content and do not require a closing tag. These are called empty elements. Common example include image tag, BR tag, HR tag, input tag. For example, the BR tag create a line break while the image tag display an image. Since these elements perform a specific task by themselves, they do not need opening and closing tag pairs. Now let's look at some best practice for writing clean HTML code. Writing HTML is not only about making it work. It's also important to write code that is clean, readable, and easy to maintain. Some useful best practices are: use lowercase tag names, properly nest your element, use quotation mark around the attribute's value, indent your code consistently, always close your tag whenever required. Follow these simple rules will help you write a professional HTML code and avoid common mistakes. In the next lesson, we will continue building our HTML text formatting, which is more exciting concept. So thank you for watching and do not forget to subscribe to Ilyasoft for more web development tutorials. Welcome to day 3 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we will learn about text formatting and HTML. Text formatting help us structure content, improve readability and highlight important information for user. And this lesson we will cover heading, paragraph, bold, italic and underline text, strong and emphasis tag, line break and horizontal rules. These elements are essential for creating clean and professional web pages. So let's start with the first topic, heading. Heading are used to define title and subtitle on a web page. HTML provides 6 levels of headings from H1 to H6. Let's see a simple and beginner friendly example. Now first create the doc type. This tells to the browser which version of HTML is used. Then the main tag of HTML, opening and closing tag. Then the heading, opening and closing tag. Then inside any heading tag, create the title of the page, then the body tag, opening and closing tag. Here is the H1 opening and closing tag and inside the content of the heading 1. So heading 1 is the most important and largest heading, then H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6. H6 opening and closing tag and then the content of the H6. H6 is the least important and smallest heading. So now save and then start debug. So now see here an example. This is the heading 1 and this is the heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5 and this one is the least important and smallest heading. So heading help us organize content, improve readability and also important for SEO because search engine use them to understand the structure of your page. A web page should typically have one H1 heading and then use H2 through H6 for subheading and section. So let's get some real world example. H1 opening and closing tag. Here I am going to inside in the H1 content is HTML Mastery Course 2026 and then here I am going to create the module in this course. So for module, I am using the H2 tag, module 1 HTML basic. And then for the lesson, here I am using the lesson 1 introduction to HTML, and again for lesson H3, then for next lesson heading H3, and for the next module here H2 tag, and again for lesson H3. So now let's run and get end the result. So it's look like a professional. So this is the real world example of heading. HTML Mastery Course 2026. This is the H1 heading. So a web page should typically have one main heading, which is H1, and then use H2 through H6 by subheading and section. So use heading to create a clear structure for your content. Avoid using heading just to make text bigger. Use heading in a proper order. This helps with SEO, accessibility, and professional web page structure. Now let's learn about paragraph in HTML. Paragraphs are used to display block of text on a web page. In HTML, paragraphs are created using the P tag. Whenever you want to write a sentence, description, article, or any textual content, you should place it inside a paragraph tag. So browser automatically adds some spacing before and after paragraph, making this content easier to read. So let's see an example. So now create the heading HTML Mastery Course 2026, then the opening tag and closing tag of first paragraph, welcome to our professional HTML course, and then the second paragraph, opening closing tag and the content, and then third paragraph, opening closing tag and the content, and then add in a second paragraph some break. And now run the example. This is the heading one, and then first paragraph, second and third. So browser automatically adds some spaces before and after a paragraph. So now HTML ignore extra spaces, line break inside in a paragraph. Use a separate paragraph for each idea. This make your content easier to read and improve web page organization. Sometimes we need to emphasize certain words or phrase in our content. HTML provide formatting tags that allow to make text bold, italic, or underline. So B tag make text bold, I tag make text italic, and U tag make text underline. These tags are commonly used to draw attention to important information or improve the appearances of content. Let's look at an example. Here I have three paragraphs. The first paragraph content is HTML is the foundation of web development. I want to bold the HTML word of the first paragraph. So I am using the first tag, that is the opening tag of the B tag, and that is the closing tag. And inside HTML word is the content of this B tag. The second paragraph content is practice every day to improve your skill. So I want to italic this practice every day. So use the I opening tag and closing tag of the practice everyday sentence. And here the third paragraph, important note, complete all exercise. So here I want to underline the important notes. So before the important I use the U tag, and after the note use the close tag of the underline. Now let's run. So now here any result. HTML is bold of the first paragraph, then practice every day is italic, and important note is the underline. Use formatting only when necessary. Too much formatting can make content harder to read. HTML also provides semantic formatting tags called strong and emphasize. These tags not only change the appearances of text but also give meaning to the content. Strong tag indicate this text is very important, and emphasize tag EM indicate emphasize or stress on a word or phrase. So by default, strong appear has a bold text, and EM tag emphasize appear has a italic text. So let's see an example. An example, I have one heading and two paragraphs. In a first paragraph, the content is complete all exercise after each lesson. And a second paragraph, content is practicing the example yourself. So I want to mark this sentence, paragraph 1 is very important. So before this sentence, I'm going to add note word, and I want to make a bold, and mark is a very important. So then we use the strong tag, opening and closing tag, and make between these two tag the note word. So it's make a bold when we run this page in a browser. And a second paragraph, practicing the example yourself. So here we are adding we strongly recommend these three words before this practicing the example yourself. So we and then strongly recommend these two words we mark as a emphasize. So it's make it italic when we run this page. So let's run. So now see an result. Here is the heading 1, and here note is a bold, and strongly recommend is italic. Search engine and screen reader can understand these tags better than simple bold or italic tags. So use these tags for meaning, not just appearances. Strong and emphasize tag when the meaning of the text is important, not just its its appearances. The last topic for today is line break and horizontal rules. A line break allows text to continue on the next line without starting a new paragraph. For this purpose, HTML uses the BR tag. A horizontal rules create a horizontal line across the page and is created using the HR tag. It's often used to separate sections of content. So let's see both tags an example. An example, I have a two paragraph. My name is Ilyas. I am learning HTML and HTML is easy to learn. So here I want to make these line like this, means I want to show this paragraph 1 and a 3 lines and a web page. So by default paragraph ignore the line break and spacing. So for break the lines inside in a paragraph we use the BR tag. So let's add them. And next I want to add here the horizontal line between these two paragraphs. So simple write add here the HR. HR tag is used for the break the section. So these sections come after the horizontal line. So now rerun the example and a result you will see here it's break and a three line and here it's separate and a differentiation by using the HR tag. So HR tag is used for the sections and BR used for the break line inside in a one paragraph. Use BR for a small line break and HR when you want to visually separate sections of content. Congratulations, you have completed day 3 of the HTML course. Today you learned heading, paragraph, bold, italic and underline formatting, strong and emphasize tag, line break and horizontal rules. These text formatting elements help you create well-structured and professional web pages. And the next lesson we will continue building our HTML skill with more useful elements and techniques. Hello everyone, welcome back to HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we are learning something very useful in HTML, links and navigation. Links help user move from one page to another page, website, file or even open an email directly. So and today lesson we will learn anchor tag used to create links in HTML. Internal links connect pages inside your website. External link open other websites. Email link open email directly. Download link allow user to download files. So links are one of the most important parts of every website because they help user navigate easily. So get ready and let's start learning day 4 with a simple example. So let's begin. Now let's learn our first topic, anchor tag. The anchor tag is used to create links in HTML. It helps user move from one page to another page or open another website. Now let's understand how the anchor tag works with a simple example. Here the a tag, then href attributes, then the value of href attributes, and here is the clickable link that is a visit Google, and here is the closing tag. So let's break it step by step. A tag, that is the start the anchor tag, and href attributes, it's tell the browser where to go, and visit Google, this is the clickable text user see, and the /a tag, that's close the anchor tag. So how it's work? Imagine you are on a website and you see the text visit Google. So when you move your mouse over it, the text become a clickable link. So once you click on it, the browser read the href value and open the Google website. So think of it like this. Anchor tag is a door, href address of the place, and clicking the link open the door and go there. So without href, the browser does not know where to send the user. So that's why the href attributes is very important. Now let's learn our second topic, internal links. Internal links are used to move from one section to another section within the same web page. So they help user navigate quickly without scrolling through the whole page. For example, on a website you may have a section like about us, services and contact. So instead of scrolling down manually, user can simply click a link and jump directly to that section. Let's get an example. And this example I have a heading 1, then 3 internal link, and then 3 section. One is the about, services and contact. So let's understand how it's works. href create a link to the about section, and id about, that is the name of this section. It's give the section a unique name. So when a user click about us, the browser find the matching id and automatically jump to that section. So think of it like a shortcut button instead a page. So this is very useful for long website, portfolios, documentation pages and business website. So let's move to the next topic. Now let's learn about external link in HTML. External link are used when you want users to visit another website outside your own website. To create an external link, we use the a tag and provide the website URL inside the href attributes. So in this example, we have links to Google, W3 School and MDN Web Doc. So notice this is the target attributes and that is the value. So this open the website in a new browser tab. The real no opener no refer attributes provide additional security when opening external website. So external link are very useful for connecting user to resources, documentation and references website. Now let's learn about email link. Email link allow user to quickly send an email by clicking a link. To create an email link, we use the mail to protocol inside the href attributes. When user click the link, their default email application opens automatically. So we can also add a predefined subject line and message body to make communication easier. So email link are commonly used on a contact pages, support pages and business websites. Now let's learn about download links. Download links allow user to download file directly from your website. To create a download link, we use the A tag along with the download attributes. So download links are commonly used for PDF, documents, presentation, software files and other resources. This feature improves your experience by making a potent file easily accessible. Great job! We have complete HTML links and learn how different types of links help user navigate website. So now let's move to day 5, images and multimedia basics. Hello everyone, welcome back to Code with Ilyasoft, and in today's HTML course we are starting day 5, images and multimedia basics. Images make website more attractive, professional and user friendly. That's why every web developer must know how to properly add and optimize images and HTML. Today we will cover 4 important topics: image tag, alt attribute, image optimization, figure and fig caption. So let's start. The first topic is the image tag. In HTML, images are displayed using the img tag, that is the image tag. This tag allows us to show photos, logos, banners, product images and many other visual elements on a web page. So here is example. img is the image tag, src specifies the image file path, and width specify the image width, and height attributes specify the height of the image. So let's run in a browser. Why it is important? Without images, website look plain and less engaging. So the image tag help us create visually website the attractive user. Now let's learn about alt attributes. The alt attribute stand for alternative text. It provides a text description of an image. Why we need it? Sometimes the image file is missing, the image failed to load and visually impaired user uses a screen reader. So in this situation, the alt text help users understand what the image represents. So an example, the image tag, and here is the src, the image file path and the width, height and then the alt text. So if the image is not found, so then show the text HTML master course banner. If the images exist, then the image will be shown here. Search engine cannot see images like a human. They use alt text to understand image contents. So good alt text improve accessibility, user experience, SEO ranking, so write clear and meaningful description. Let's learn about image optimization. Many beginners upload large images directly to their website. This causes slow loading speed, poor user experience and lower SEO ranking. So what is image optimization? Image optimization means reducing image size while maintaining good quality. So here is an example. I have an image, one for JPG and the second one is for WebP. So here I am using the loading lazy and the WebP image, .webp and .jpg. So this is the unoptimized image and this setting is the optimized image in a browser. So here see, this is the unoptimized image and this is the optimized image. So if you want to optimize your images, so must choose the WebP and AVIF format of the image. Don't use JPG and PNG format. So important techniques for image optimization. Resize the image means do not upload a 5000 pixel image if you only need 800 pixel. Compress the images. Use image compression tools to reduce file size. Use modern format. Recommended format is WebP and AVIF format. So these formats are similar and faster than JPG and PNG format. So lazy loading, this loads image only when needed. So must mark loading attributes inside an image tag. Loading is equal to lazy. easy. So image optimization helps faster websites, better SEO, improve user experience, and lower bandwidth uses. So always optimize images before uploading them to your website. Our final topic is figure and fig caption. These HTML elements help us group an images together with its caption. So why use them? Sometime we want to explain an image. Instead of adding random text below it, HTML provides a semantic solution. An example, figure create a container for media content, and fig caption add a caption for that content. So inside in a figure tag, we have a two HTML tag. One is the image, the second is the fig caption. So image specify the image and fig caption show the caption of the image below of the image. So let's run in a browser. So before the image and below the caption of the image. So some benefit of figure and fig caption: improve the accessibility, improve HTML structure, make content easier to understand, and help search engines understand context. Some commonly used of fig and fig caption. Figure and fig caption for blog images, product photos, tutorials, documentation, and news articles. So in a day 5, today we learn how to display image using the image tag, how the alt attributes improve accessibility and SEO, how image optimization makes website faster, and how figure and fig caption provide the meaningful image description. So these concepts are used in almost every modern website. So make sure you practice them before moving to the next lesson. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft, and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Welcome back to day 6 of our HTML Mastery course 2026. And today, listen, we are going to learn one of the most useful HTML elements, list. List help organize information in a clean and readable way. You will see them anywhere on a website, from navigation menu and features list, from product details and documentation. So today we will cover 4 important topics: ordered list, unordered list, description list, and nested list. Let's begin with ordered list. An ordered list display item in a numbered sequence. We use it whenever the order of the item is important. So the OL tag means order list tag create the order list, and each item is written using the LI means list item tag. Let's take example. And this example, this is the OL tag, this is the order list, and this is the list item. So when you use the order list OL tag, it's by default get numbering 1, 2, 3. So let's run in a browser. So in a result, you will see here 1, 2, 3. So these 3 items get numbering by default 1, 2, 3. So whenever you need number steps or instruction, use an order list. Now let's learn about unordered list. An unordered list display items using bullets instead of numbers. So we create it using the UL tag. UL tag means unordered list, while each list item is still written with the LI means list item tag. So let's take the example. So here is the UL tag, the unordered list, and in remain the list item is same LI. So let's run in a browser. So here you will see it's using the bullet instead of numbers. Unordered lists are perfect for menus, features list, categories, or whenever the order of item does not matter. Let's learn about description list. A description list is used to display a terms along with its explanation. It uses 3 tags: DL tags, DT tag, and DD tag. DL tag means description list, DT means description term, and DT means detailed description. So let's take the example. So here is the DL. DL is the description list stand for, and DT is the term, description term, and then this term detail is inside in the detailed description tag, DT tag. So let's run in a browser. So in a result here, this is the term and this is the term description. So description lists are commonly used for glossaries, FAQs, definitions, and product specification. Finally, let's explore nested list. A nested list means placing one list inside another list. This helps organize information into categories and subcategories. Let's take the example. Here is the unordered list, and inside an unordered list have 2 items: programming and database server, and then inside this list item have nested list. This unordered list is a nested list. And then inside this nested list have three items: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And also here the database server list item have nested unordered list have three items: MS SQL server, MySQL server, and SQLite. So let's run in a browser. So in a result here is the two main list item, and these are the nested list, unordered list. So nested lists are widely used for navigation menus, category structure, and for hierarchical data. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft, and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. And today lesson we are going to learn one of the most useful HTML element, table. So think about website that display student record, employee information, product list, exam result, sales reports. How do they organize all this data neatly? The answer is HTML tables. So HTML table allow us to arrange information in a structured format using rows and columns, making data easy to read and understand. So today we will learn table structure, rows and columns, table headers, column spin, and row spins. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create professional looking table for your website. Now let's understand the basic structure of an HTML table. So just like a house need walls, doors, and a roof, a table also need a specific HTML tags to work properly. So here an example: table tag create the entire table. Everything related to the table goes inside this tag. TR tag stand for table row. Each row in a table is created using this tag. TH tag stand for table header. Header describe the content of each column. In our example, ID, name, course, these are the headers. TD tag stand for table data. It's contain the actual information inside the table cell. For example, TD table data Elias Johnson. This display the Elias Johnson in the table. So let's run in the browser. So output will show the student information neatly arranged inside rows and columns. So remember these four tags: table create the table, TR create the row, TH create the heading, and TD create the data cell. So there are the building blocks of every HTML table. Now that we know the table structure, let's understand the rows and columns. A table is made up of rows and columns. So think about a classroom attendance sheet. Horizontal lines are called rows and vertical sections are called columns. So let's see an example. Let's count them. The first row contain ID, name, course. This is the header row. The second row contain 1 Elias Johnson, web development. The third row contain 2 Bob Smith, UI UX design. So we have a 3 row total: header row, student row 1, and student row 2. And we have a 3 column: ID column, name column, and course column. Notice something important. Every row contain the same number of columns. That keeps the table organized and properly aligned. So easy formula for the rows and columns: TR create a row and TD create a column cell. So more row, more records; more columns, more information about each record. So this is how HTML table organize data into a clean and readable grid. Now let's learn about table header. When we look at a table, how do we know what each column represents? For example, is this column showing IDs, names, courses, grids? So that's where table headers come in. Headers provide title for each column and help user understand the data quickly. Let's see an example. Notice these tags. The TH tag stand for table header. Header are usually display bold, center aligned, more noticeable than normal table data. This help user identify the meaning of each column. Let's understand our output. Here, ID is the header for student IDs, name is the header for student name, and course is the header for enrollment courses. So without header, user would have difficulty to understanding the table. So always use meaningful headers when creating tables. So good header make your table easier to read, more professional, more user friendly. So remember, TH table header and TD is the table data. Header describe the data while TD contain the actual data. Now let's learn one of the most powerful feature of HTML tables, column spin and row spin. Sometimes we want a cell to occupy multiple columns or multiple rows. So instead of creating separate cell, HTML allow us to merge them. So let's start with column spin. What is column spin? Column spin means one cell can spin across multiple columns. Let's see an example. Notice TH column spin is equal to 2 and then subject and then the closing tag of table header. So the subject header occupy two columns instead of them. This is the useful when grouping the related information together. So now let's understand row spin. What is row spin? Row spin means one cell can spin across multiple rows. Let's see an example. The TD tag attribute row spin is equal to 2 and then the closing tag and then inside the opening closing tag Ali is the data. So the name Ali occupy two rows. Instead of representing the name twice, one cell is shared across both rows. So real life example. Let's take a real life example. Imagine a student enrolls in a multiple subject. Instead of writing the student name again and again, so row spin allow us to display it once while connecting multiple rows. So column spin is equal to 2, merge 2 column. Column spin is equal to 3, merge 3 column. And row spin is equal to 2, merge 2 row, F3, then merge 3 row. So these attributes helps create advanced and professional table layouts. In the real world website, column spin and row spin are commonly used in school result sheet, timetables, report, invoice table, dashboard data tables. So mastering these features will make your HTML table much more powerful and flexible. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Welcome back everyone to day 8 of HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we are starting one of the most important topics in HTML, forms fundamental. Until now we learned how to display content on a web page using heading, paragraphs, images, links and tables. But websites are not only for showing information. Websites also need to collect information from user. For example, login form, registration form, contact form, search bar, feedback form, all of these are created using HTML form. So today we will learn 4 important topics: form element, input fields, label, buttons. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create your own working HTML form. Now let's understand the form elements. The form elements mean form tag is used to create a form in HTML. It acts like a container that holds all form control such as input field, label, buttons and other elements. In a simple word, a form is like a box that collects information from user. For example, when you sign up on a website, you enter name, email, password. So all these fields are placed inside a form. Let's see an example. Let's understand this line by line. First we create the form element means form tag, then the action, attributes and then the value is /submit. So tills where form data will be go after submission, and then the method attributes is equal to post value, define how data is sent. Inside the form we have a label and input field. Finally we add a submit button. So everything is wrapped inside the form elements. So now inside form, user need places where they can enter information. These are called input fields. Let's learn about input fields. Input fields are areas where user type or select information. Different input types help us collect different kinds of data. For example, name is a text input, email is an email input, password is a password input, age is a number input, date of birth is a date input. So let's see an example. Now let's understand each input type. Type text, except normal text means text only, and here is the another is type email. Email accept only email address, and then password. When you enter anything in this input field, it hides and just show a dots. So type password. Type number accept only numbers means age is a numbers, so accept numbers only. And then type date show a date picker where user select our date of birth and so on. So different input type helps make form smarter and easier for use. So let's run in a browser. Now this field accept accept anything you write here. The email address accept only email address. And the password, when you write anything here, it shows just dot. And the age, it's not accept the character. It's accept only numbers. And in the date, so when I click here, the date picker is open. So now select the date. So different input type help make form smarter and easier for use. So real life example. When creating a student registration form, you may ask name, that is the text field, email, that is the email field, and age is a number field, and date of birth is a date field. So now our input field need proper titles so user know what information they should enter. So that's where labels help us. Now let's understand labels. Labels are used to describe input fields. In a simple word, label tell user what information they need to enter. Without labels, user might get confused. So let's see an example. Let's understand. The label tag means the label elements. Create a text description. The four attributes connect the label with an input field using its ID. For example, the four attributes is equal to and the value is email. So match it's the ID is equal to email of the email input. So this connection improve user experience. And when user click the label, the related input field become active automatically. So let's run any browser. Now I am going to click on the first name. Once I click, the field is active. When I click on the email label, the field is active. Then the accept term, it's automatically check or uncheck. So real life example. Imagine a registration form with only empty boxes and no text, means no label. So user would not know where to enter their name, email or password. So label solve this problem. Let's understand button. Button are interactive elements that allow user to perform action. In a forms, button are commonly used to submit data, reset data and trigger action. So let's see an example. Let's understand each button. The type is equal to submit of this button. This button send form data. The next button type is equal to reset. So this button clear all entire values. Then on click attributes. This perform an action when clicked. So in our example, it show a message say welcome to HTML Mastery Course 2026. So let's run any browser. So now I am going to click on submit, then reset, and then when I click on this click me button, the message is show welcome to HTML Mastery Course 2026. So real life example. In a login form, submit button send username and password and reset button clear input. Other buttons perform extra action. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Welcome to day 9 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we will learn advanced form control in HTML, which help us collect user inputs in a different ways. So in this lesson we will cover radio buttons, checkboxes, select drop-downs and text areas. These form controls are commonly used in registration form, surveys, feedback forms, contact form, online application and web-based system. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to create professional and user-friendly HTML forms. Let's start with our first topic, radio buttons. Radio buttons are used when user need to select only one option from multiple choice. HTML use the input type radio element to create a radio button. Let's see an example. In this example, users can choose only one programming language. The important thing is that all radio buttons have the same name attributes language. Because they share the same name, selecting one option automatically deselect the others. So this make radio button perfect for gender selection, payment method selection, favorite color selection and language selection. So let's run any browser. So here the user select your favorite programming language. So when I select the HTML, then JavaScript automatically deselect the other. So use radio button whenever you want user to choose one option only from a group of choices. Let's start with our second topic, checkboxes. Checkboxes allow user to select one, multiple or all option from a list. HTML use the input type checkbox checkbox element to create checkboxes. Let's see an example. In this example, user can select multiple technologies. Unlike radio buttons, checkboxes does not restrict the user to a single choice. A user can select HTML only, HTML and CSS, or HTML, CSS, JavaScript and Python. So checkboxes are commonly used for skill selections, and trust selections, product features, newsletter subscription, term and condition. So let's learn in a browser. So here I am going to select the HTML, also CSS and Python. Use checkboxes whenever user should be allowed to select multiple options. Let's start with our third topic, select dropdowns. A select dropdown provides a list of options in a compact menu. HTML uses the select element together with option tags. Let's see an example. When user click the dropdown, a list of countries appear. So they can then choose the option they want. So dropdown helps save space when there are many options available. So they are commonly used for country selection, city selections, course selections, department selections and languages selection. So let's run in a browser. So now here I'm going to click here the drop down, and now I'm going to select USA, then Canada, Pakistan. Use drop down when you have many options and want to keep your form clean and organized. Text area is the last and fourth topic. So a text area is used to collect multi-line text input from users. HTML uses the text area elements to create large text boxes. Let's see an example. Text area have two attributes, rows and columns. Row handle the height of the text area and columns handle the width of the text area. So unlike a normal text input field, a text area allows user to write longer message. User can press enter button and create multi-lines of text. So text area are commonly used for contact forms, feedback forms, reviews, comments, support requests, message boxes. For example, if a customer want to explain an issue in detail, a text area provide enough space to write a complete message. So let's run in a browser. Here is the your message. So here I am going to write HTML Mastery Course 2026 and they just copy paste. So now see here, this is the text area where user can write our message in detail. Use text areas whenever user need to enter large amount of text or detailed information. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Hello everyone, welcome back to HTML Mastery course. This is day 10 and today lesson we are learning HTML5 form validation, one of the most important topic for creating professional web forms. Imagine a user enter an empty name, an invalid email address or incorrect phone numbers. So without validation, your website may receive incorrect or incomplete data. So HTML5 provide built-in validation features that help us verify user input before the form is submitted. So today we will learn required field, minimum maximum values, pattern validations and placeholders. Let's begin with the first topic, required field. The required attributes make an input field mandatory. In a simple word, users cannot submit the form until they enter a value in that field. So this helps ensure important information is never left empty. Let's create a simple registration form. In this example, full name is required, email address is required and password is also required. So now imagine the user click the registration button without entering anything. The browser immediately display a validation message such as please fill out this field. So let's run in a browser. So now I am going to click here registration button. So now the message is please fill out this field. So now I am entering here Ali and then again click the registration button. Then again I get this message please fill out this field. So this form will not be submitted until all required field contain data. So real world example, when you create an account on Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, you cannot register without entering your name, email and password. So these fields use validation similar to the required attributes. Begin with the second topic, min and maximum value. So the min and max attributes define the minimum and maximum value allowed in an input field. They are commonly used with number inputs, date input, range slider. So this help restrict user input within a specific range. Let's create a form that accepts age information. So here is the minimum age is 18 and maximum age is 16. So valid input is 18, 25, 45 and 60. And the invalid input is 10, 15, 75, 100 and so on. So if a user enter a value outside this range, the browser will show a validation error. So let's run any browser. So here I am going to enter 15 and now I'm going to click the submit button. So the message is value must be greater than or equal to 18. So now I'm going to here enter 65. So value must be less than or equal to 60. And now the next is 40 value. So now the value is accepted. So min and maximum value attributes help control the range of acceptable input. Let's learn about pattern validation. The pattern attributes allow us to validate data using a specific format. It uses a regular expression to define rules for user input. In a simple word, user must enter data that match a predefined pattern. Let's see an example. Here we have a two input field, one for full name and second for phone number. So here is the pattern for full name, capital A to Z and small a to small z. So this is the acceptable alphabet and here is the range of the accepted alphabet, means minimum 4 and maximum 10, and that fields mark as a required also. So this pattern means only letters are allowed, minimum 4 characters, maximum 10 characters. So valid input is Ali is not a valid input, it's a 3 character, Sarah, Johnson and so on. And invalid input is A1, I, 1, 2, 3, 4, at the right, Ahmad, AB, and so on. So if the user enter invalid data, the browser display an error message. So let's see an phone number input field. So here is the pattern for phone is 0 to 9 digit, and here is the length is 11 digits. So the pattern required exactly 11 digits. Valid is 0300 and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So that is the valid. And invalid is 300 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and then include dash and then include ABCN. So that is the invalid. So let's run any browser. Here is the full name. So now here I am going to enter Ali. So Ali is the 3 character. Please match the request format. Now I am going to enter Ali Khan. Let's enter Sarah and submit. So enter name is accepted. Then the phone number is, now I am going to enter the phone number, that is also accept. So now let's add some ABC and now then submit. So here is please match the request format. So real world uses cases, username validation, phone number validation, CNIC validation, employee ID validation, postal codes and so on. So the pattern attributes ensure that data follow a specific format before submission. Let's learn about placeholder. The placeholder attributes display a hint inside an input field. It helps user understand what information should be entered. So the text automatically disappear when the user start typing. Let's see an example. Initially user see enter your full name inside the input box. When they begin typing, the placeholder text disappears. So in this form, name field guide the user, email field show the expected format, and phone field show how to enter a number, and text area explain what content to write. So this improve user experience and reduce confusion. Let's run any browser. So now here I am going to write the name. So now the placeholder is guided me enter your full name. So my full name is Ilyas Khan and my email is elyas.khan at something and this. And here guided me how to enter your phone number. So now I am going to enter some phone number. Write your message here. So real world example. Search bar often use placeholder, search product. User instantly understand what to do. So the placeholder attribute provide helpful hints and improve form usability. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Welcome back to HTML Mastery Course 2026 and today listen, we are learning about semantic HTML, one of the most important concepts for creating professional and modern websites. So what is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML means using HTML tag that clearly describe the purpose of the content that contain. So instead of using generic tag like dev for everything, semantic HTML provide a meaningful tag such as header, nav, main, sections, article, aside and footer tag. So these tags tell browser, search engines and developers what each part of the web page represents. So think of it like labeling rooms in a building. Instead of naming every room is a room, we use a labels like kitchen, bedroom, and office. This makes the building easier to understand. Semantic HTML works the same way for web page. So let's look at a simple website structure. Header contains the website title, nav tag contains navigation link, main tag contains the primary content, and then sections, groups, related information, and footer contain copyright information. So just by looking at these tags, anyone can immediately understand the page structure. So this makes the code cleaner, easier to read, and easier to maintain. So remember, semantic HTML is equal to meaningful HTML tag that describe the content and structure of a web page. Now let's understand why semantic HTML is important. So many beginners use div tag everywhere. While a page may still work, it's become harder for search engine and screen reader and other developer to understand the content. So semantic HTML solves this problem. Why does it matter? Semantic HTML provides clear meaning of every section of your website. It's improve accessibility, search engine optimization, SEO, and then code readability and website maintenance. So real example, imagine these two versions of a same web page. One is the without semantic HTML and the second is with semantic HTML. So when someone look at this code which is without semantic HTML, they must read the class name to understand the structure. But with semantic HTML, this is now the purpose of each section is instantly clear. Means header tell us it is the page header, nav tag tell us it's navigation, main tag tell us it's the main content, and footer tag tell us it's the footer. So search engine like a Google can better understand your page structure, so screen reader can guide visually impaired user more effectively, and developer can maintain and update the website faster because the code is easier to read. So here is some benefit of semantic HTML. Means better accessibility, improve SEO, cleaner code, and better user experience. Better user experience means a well-structured website is easier to navigate and maintain. So semantic HTML is not just about writing code. It's about creating websites that are easier to understand, more accessible, SEO friendly, professional, and scalable. So that's why modern web developers always prefer semantic HTML tags over generic dev tag whenever possible. Now let's learn about another very important topic in a modern web development, accessibility basics. So what is accessibility? Accessibility means designing websites so that everyone can use them, including people with disabilities. For example, a visually impaired person may use a screen reader. A user with limited hand movement may navigate using only a keyboard. Someone with low vision may need clear label and readable content. So a good website should work for all users, not just those using a mouse and screen normally. So why accessibility matter? Accessibility helps make your website easier to use, more inclusive, more professional, better for SEO. So search engine and SEO technologies both benefit from well-structured and accessible HTML. So let's create a simple accessible form. Let's understand why this form is accessible. The label tell user what information should be entered, and screen reader can announce this is the email address edit field. So this helps the visually impaired users understand the input field, and this gives extra information to user when connected using error described by screen reader can also read this helpful text. So all form controls such as input button can be reached using the tab key. Users who cannot use a mouse can still navigate and submit the form. So using proper HTML elements like label, input, button helps the SEO technology understand the page correct. So let's take some real example. Imagine an online shopping website. A user with visual impairment wants to subscribe to a newsletter. So if the input field has no label, the screen reader may simply announce edit field. So the user was not know what information to enter. But with a proper accessibility feature, the screen reader announce email address edit field, and the extra information is we will never share your email. So now the user clearly understand the purpose of the field. So this create a much better experience. Accessibility is about making the web usable for everyone by using proper label, semantic HTML, keyboard friendly control, and helpful description. You create a website that are more inclusive, easier to use, better for screen reader, more professional, and SEO friendly. So remember, a great website is not just beautiful, it is accessible to everyone. If you found this tutorial helpful, helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft, and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding. Welcome to day 12 of our HTML5 course 2026. Today we are going to learn about one of the most important concepts in a modern web development, that is layout elements. So when building a website, we need a clear structure so browser, search engine, and user can easily understand the content. HTML5 provides a special semantic layout elements that help organize a web page properly. The four layout elements we will learn today are the header, that is the top sections of a web page, the nav, the navigation menu that contain links, the main tag, the primary content area of the page, and then the footer, the bottom section containing extra information. So using these elements makes your website more professional, easier to maintain, and better for SEO and accessibility. Let's learn about header. The header element is represented using the header tag. It's usually contain introductory content such as website logo, website title, navigation menu, search bar, and hero section. So think of the header as the welcome area of your website. So let's see an example. Header create the header section, and here is the H1 is display the main heading, and P show a short introduction. So let's run in a browser. So why use header? Using the header elements help search engine understand page structure, screen readers identify the introductory content, and developer create organized layout. So the header is typically placed at the top of a page or section. Now let's learn about the navigation section. The nav element is represented using the nav tag. It's contain the navigation links that allow user to move between pages and section of a website. So let's see an example. In this example, nav define a navigation area, and each the anchor tag create a clickable link. So let's run an browser. So here is the home, about, services, contact. These are the clickable link, and these all clickable link inside in the navigation area. So why use nav tag? Using nav tag provides several benefits. Better website navigation, improve accessibility, search engine can identify important links, and cleaner semantic HTML structure. So remember, not every group of links needs a nav tag. Use it only for the major navigation menus. Let's learn about the main tag. The main elements is represented using the main tag. It's contain the primary content of the web page. This is the content that is unique to the current page. So let's see in the example. Main tag define the central content area, and then H2 display a section heading, and paragraph tag P contain the page information. So let's run in a browser. This is the main content area. It's contain information unique to this page. So why use main tag? Using main tag helps screen readers quickly locate important content, improve accessibility, make page structure easier to understand, and separate primary content from the headers, navigation, and footers. So a web page should generally have only one main element. Let's learn about footer. The footer element is represented using the footer tag. It appears at the bottom of a web page or section. The footer usually contain additional information, copyright text, contact information, social media links, privacy policy, terms of services. So let's see an example. In this example, footer create the footer section, and P paragraph tag display copyright information, and then the anchor tag provide a useful link. So let's run in a browser. So why use footer? Using the footer element provide important site information, improves website organization, enhance user experience, and create a complete page structure. So congratulations, today you learned the four essential HTML5 layout elements. Header, that is the introductory content, and nav tag, the navigation link, main, the primary page content, footer, provide the inside footer information. So together these elements create a semantic and professional web page structure that improve SEO, accessibility, and maintainability. So keep practicing, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello everyone, welcome back to the HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today is day 13, and we are going to learn about HTML5 content structure. As websites become larger, organizing content become very important. HTML5 introduce semantic elements that clearly describe the purpose of different parts of a web page. So today we will learn three important semantic elements: article, section, aside. So article used for independent content, section is used for grouping related content, and aside is used for additional or sidebar content. So these elements make your code cleaner, improve SEO, and help search engine and screen reader understand your web page. Let's learn about article. The article element represent independent or self-contained content. So a good way to remember it is this: if you can copy the content and publish it somewhere else and it still make complete sense, then it should probably be inside an article element. So common example include blog post, news article, product reviews and forum post. So now let's understand the example shown on the screen. First we create the basic HTML document. This create a normal HTML page. Next we add the page heading. This is the main title display at the top of the web page. Now we create our first article. Everything inside this tag belong to one independent blog post. Inside the article we write the title, H2 tag, and this is the article heading. Next come the publication information. This paragraph show the date and author. Then we write the article content, the paragraph tag. Finally we add a link. So the link allow user to open the complete article, and the second article work exactly the same way. So each article is completely independent. So let's run a browser. On the right side you can see two blog posts. Each one has a title, date, description and read more link button. So become each post is wrapped inside an article tag. So browser and search engine know these are a separate pieces of content. So remember, whenever your content can stand alone, use the article element. Now let's learn the section element. The section element groups related content together. So think of it like a chapters in a book. Each chapter discuss one topic, but together they form the complete book. So let's understand the example. We begin with a normal HTML page. Inside the header we write this display the website title. Now comes the main content. Inside main we create three sections. First section, this section is for about us. Inside it we write followed by a paragraph introducing the company. Then second section, this section explains the services. We add a heading. Then we describe what the company offers. Third section, this section contains contact information. Again we adding a heading and a short paragraph. Finally we create the footer which display the copyright information. So let's run in a browser. In the browser every section appear has a separate content block. So first come about us, then our services and finally contacts us. So each topic has its own heading and content. So this make the web page much easier to read. So remember, use section whenever you want to divide a web page into a meaningful parts. Let's learn about aside element. The aside element contain information that is related to the main content but is not part of it. Usually you will see it has a sidebar. So example include related post, advertisement, tips, social media links, widgets and navigation menus. So now let's understand the example. First we create a container. Inside this container we place two parts. The first part is this contain the main article. Inside it we add the h1 tag and inside in h1 tag HTML5 semantic element. So followed by a paragraph explaining semantic HTML. So next come the sidebar. Inside the aside we create another heading, related link. So this we add a list. Each list item contain helpful resources like HTML5 guide, CSS layout, web accessibility, SEO based characters. So finally we add a useful tips, use paragraph, then strong tag and then use semantic element for a better web experience, and that's it. So let's run in a browser. On the right side of the browser the main article appear on the left, so while the sidebar appear on the right. So this sidebar contain extra information that supports the main topic but does not interrupt the reading experience. So this is exactly how many professional websites display related articles, advertisement, recent posts and helpful resources. So remember, use the aside element for supplementary information that support the main content. Congratulations, you have successfully completed day 13 of the HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we learn three important HTML semantics elements. Article for self-content, independent content like blog post and news article. The second section for grouping related content into a meaningful part of a web page. Then the aside element for display supporting content such as sidebar, related link, tips or advertisement. So by using these semantic elements instead of generic div tag, use HTML become more organized, so easier to maintain, more accessible, and better optimized for search engine. So until then, keep practicing, keep coding, and I will see you in day 14. Welcome to day 14 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. And today, listen, we are going to learn about HTML entities and special characters. These entities allow us to display symbols and characters that either have a special meaning in HTML or not available directly on the keyboard or need to be displayed constantly across all browsers. So HTML entities are commonly used for copyright symbol, currency symbol, reserved HTML characters, mathematical symbols, spatial punctuation, and icons. So understanding entities is important because they help us create professional, standard compliant, and error-free web page. So why HTML entities matter? Imagine you want to display the less than symbol on a web page. HTML may interrupt it as the start of an HTML tag. So instead of display, it has a text. Similarly, symbol such as copyright, registration, trademark, and then currency symbol may not display correctly. Proper HTML entities are not used. So HTML entities solve this problem by converting special characters into SF, browser readable codes. Some real-world uses of HTML entities. HTML entities are widely used in website footers, e-commerce stores, online invoices, blog tutorials, documentation websites, financial dashboards, and educational platforms. So in today's topics, copyright symbol, currency symbol, and reserved characters. Let's learn about copyright symbol. HTML copyright symbol are special character used to display a legal ownership and trademark information on a web page. Instead of typing special symbol directly, HTML entities ensure the symbols display correctly on all browser and devices. So why use copyright entities? Cross-browser compatibility, professional website footers, protect brand identity, and display a special symbol correctly. So here is the example. Add copy. This symbol is used for to display the copyright symbol. Then this is used for the display the registered trademark symbol, and add % trade display the trademark symbol. So these symbols are commonly used in website footers, company information, and brand protection notice. And my website all right reserved. Let's learn about currency symbol. Currency symbol are a special HTML entities used to display money related symbols on website that help represent the prices and financial information correctly. So why use the currency entities? Display international currencies, useful in e-commerce websites, improve readability, and work constantly across browser. So let's take the example. So 8% dollar, it's display the dollar symbol currency, and then at the euro, this icon display the euro symbol. 8% pound, it display the pound symbol, and then 8% yuan display the yuan symbol currency. So these entities are commonly used in online store, invoices, payment system, and financial dashboard. So let's run in a browser. So here is the laptop price, $1200. Here is the pound price is euro 850, and then the headphone price is pound 150, and here is the gaming console price is yuan 60,000. So these entities are commonly used in online store, invoices, payment systems, and financial dashboard. Let's learn about reserved characters. Reserved characters are symbols that have a special meaning in HTML syntax. Because HTML use these characters internally, they must be written as entities when displayed on a web page. So why use the reserved character entities? Prevent HTML errors, display code example safely, maintain a valid HTML structure, and improve website reliability. So let's take the example. Add %LT display the less than icon, less than, and then add %GT display the greater than symbol, and then add %AMP display the 8% icon, and then add QUOT display the double quotation, and OPOS display the single quotation. So let's run in a browser. So here is the less than icon, then the greater than icon, % icon, and double quotes, and then the single quote. These entities are especially useful when displaying HTML code snippets, tutorials, and documentation pages. So today we learned copyright symbols, currency symbols, reserved characters. So HTML entities allow us to safely display a special character and symbol that may otherwise be interpreted as HTML code. They improve improve compatibility, readability, and ensure your web page render correctly across all browsers. Hello everyone, welcome back to our HTML Mastery Course 2026. I am Muhammad Ilyas and today we are starting day 15 where we will learn one of the most important topic and modern web development, accessibility, also known as A11Y. So have you ever thought about how a blind person uses a website or how someone who cannot use a mouse can still navigate a web page? So the answer is accessibility. Accessibility means designing websites that everyone can use, including people with disabilities. A good website is not only beautiful and fast, it should also be usable by all users regardless of their abilities. So that's why companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple and Amazon follow accessibility standard while building their website and application. So in a today lesson we will cover three important topics: ARIA basic, screen reader, accessibility best practice. So by the end of this lesson you will understand how a built website that are not only functional but also inclusive and professional. Now let's understand our first topic, ARIA basics. So first of all, what does ARIA mean? ARIA stands for Accessible Reach Internet Application. In a simple word, ARIA provide extra information to assistive technologies like screen reader so they can understand your website better. So normally HTML elements like heading, button, forms and links already have meaning, but sometimes when we create custom component using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, screen readers cannot understand their purpose. So that's where ARIA helps. It adds a special attributes that describe what an element is, what it does and how user can interact with it. So let's understand this with a simple example. Let's understand this code step by step. First, we create a simple heading called contact form. Then we create a label named name. And next we create a text input field, and normally user can see this input box. But imagine someone who cannot see the screen. The screen reader needs the additional information about this field. So that's why we write the ARIA label is equal to full name. So this tell the screen reader this input field is for entering the user's full name. So similarly, look at the button ARIA label submit contact form. So visually this button simply says submit, but the screen reader announce submit contact form button. So this gives user much better context. So what a screen reader reads, instead of only say edit text, it will say full name edit text. Instead of saying button, it will announce submit contact form button. So this make navigation much easier for visually impaired users. Now let's move to our second topic, screen readers. Have you ever wondered how a person who cannot see a computer screen uses a website? The answer is screen readers. So a screen reader is a software application that read the content of a web page aloud instead of looking at the screen. So user listen to the information through speakers or headphones. It allows people who are blind or have low vision to the browser websites. So fill out forms, click buttons and even shop online. So that's why building accessible website is so important. So let's understand with the example. Now let's understand what happened behind the scene. First we have a main heading. The screen reader announce heading level 1, welcome to my website. This immediately tells the user that this is the main title of the page. Next we have the navigation menu. So because we use the semantic nav elements, the screen readers know this section contains navigation link. So it's announced something like navigation region. So then it reads each link one by one, home link, about link, contact link. So this helps user quickly move between pages. Next from another heading, the screen reader says heading level 2, latest news. So notice that it also tells the heading level. This helps user understand the structure of the web page just like we use chapter and a book. Now we have a paragraph. The screen reader simply read the paragraph exactly as written. This allows user to understand the content naturally. So finally we have a button. The screen reader announce read more button. The user immediately know this is something they can press. So why semantic HTML matter? Notice something interesting. We do not add any ARIA attributes in this example. That's because semantic HTML elements like like H1, nav, main, p tag, and button. So already provide meaning to screen reader. So this is why professional developer always recommend using semantic HTML before adding ARIA. So let's take some real life example. Imagine you are shopping on an online store. A screen reader might announce heading level 1 mobile phones, link iPhone 16, price $999, and then button add to cart. So without looking at the screen, the user can tell, browse products, compare prices, and complete their purchase. So that's the power of screen reader combined with accessible HTML. Whenever you build a web page, ask yourself this question: can someone use my website without seeing the screen? If the answer is yes, you have created a more accessible website using a proper heading, label, navigation, button, and semantic HTML makes a hug difference from user who really on SEO technology. Now we have reached our final topic of today's lesson: accessibility best practice. So far we have learned about ARIA and screen reader. Now the question is, how can we build websites that are easy for everyone to use? So the answer is by following accessibility best practice. So these are simple rules that help make website usable for all users, including people with visual, hearing, motor, or cognitive disabilities. So the good news is that most of these practices are easy to implement and should become a part of your daily coding habit. So let's look at a practical example. Let's understand why this form is accessible. First, notice that every input field has a label. The label clearly tells user what information they should enter. It also helps the screen reader announce the correct field name. So without label, user rely on SEO technology may not know what each input box is for. Next, look at the email field. Use the correct input type is another best practice. So the browser understands that this field is expect an email address. On a mobile device, it's even show an email friendly keyboard, making it easier for user to type. Now look at the button. Instead of writing something, we go like click here. So we use a meaningful button text registered, so that's clearly tell user what will happen when they click the button. So meaningful button text improve both accessibility and user experience. So some more accessibility best practice. So professional developers follow these important rules. Use semantic HTML elements, add a label to every form input, write meaningful button text, use proper input types, and add alternative text to images, and ensure good color contrast, and make your website keyboard friendly. So follow these simple practices will help you to create websites that are professional, inclusive, and accessible to all users. Let's take some real life example. Imagine you are applying for a job online. The application form has clear label, readable text, keyboard navigation, descriptive button, and image with alternative text. And even if you cannot see the screen or use a mouse, you can still complete the application successfully. So that is what accessibility is all about, making the web usable for everyone. So remember this important rules. Accessibility is not an extra feature. It is the part of good web design. So when you build accessible website, more people can use your website. Your website become easier to navigate. It's provide a better user experience, and it perform better in search engine because well-structured HTML is easier for search engine to understand. So accessibility benefit everyone, not just people with disability. Hello everyone, welcome back to HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today is day 16 and we are going to learn one of the most exciting HTML5 features, audio element. Before HTML5, adding audio to a web page required external plugins like Flash, but now HTML provide a simple and powerful audio elements that allow us to play sound directly inside the browser. So in today's class, we will cover three important topics: audio tag, controls attributes, multiple audio format. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to add music, podcast, sound effect, and voice recording to your own website. So let's begin. Let's learn about audio tag. The HTML audio tag is used to embed audio file into a web page. It allows user to listen the music, podcast, voice recording, or any sound directly from the browser. So without the audio element, browser cannot display or play audio file. So let's take the example. Let's understand this code step by step. First, we create a heading using the h2 tag. Next, we use the audio element. The src attributes tell the browser where the audio file is located. Here, the browser load the file name audio.mp3, and then inside the audio tag we write a fallback message. If someone browser does not support the HTML audio element, this message will be displayed. However, notice something important. Let's run in a browser. The audio file was not actually appear because we have not added any control here. So that is exactly what we will learn in our next topic. Now let's learn about control attributes. The control attributes tell the browser to display the built-in audio player. It automatically provides buttons such as play, pause, progress bar, volume control, and download menu and some browsers. So without the control attributes, user cannot interact with the audio player. So let's take the example. Let's see what's different now. The only change is adding the controls attributes inside the audio tag. The single attributes tell the browser to generate a complete media player automatic. So now user can play the audio, pause it, increase or decrease volume, move forward or backward using the progress bar. So this makes the audio player interactive without writing any Java. So let's run in a browser. Hello everyone, this is HTML Mastery Course 2026. Let's learn about multiple formats. So different browsers support different audio format. For example, Chrome support MP3, Firefox prefer OGG, and some browser also support WAV format. So to make sure your audio works anywhere, HTML allow to provide multiple audio format using the source tag. The browser automatically select the first supported format. So let's take the example. Let's understand this carefully. We first create the audio player using audio and then the attributes control. Instead of using the SRC source attributes directly, we use a multiple source element. The first source is source, then the SRC attributes, and then the file path, and then the type audio/mpeg. If the browser support the MP3, it's play this file immediately. If not, the browser automatically check the second source. If OGG is not support either, it's moved to audio.wav format. So the browser continue checking each source from the top to bottom until it's find one it can play. If none of the format are supported, the fallback message appears. So this is considered the professional way to add audio to websites because it's improved browser compatibility. So let's run in a browser. Hello everyone, this is HTML Mastery Course 2026. Hello everyone, welcome back to the HTML Mastery Course 2026. This is day 17 and today we are going to learn video elements. So the video elements is used to embed videos directly into a web page without using external plugin. HTML5 support multiple video format like MP4, WebM and OGG, making videos work across different browsers. So let's take the example. Here the video tag create a video player. Then the width and height attributes set the video size. The source attributes specify the video file and type tells the browser the video format, and control attributes display the play, pause, volume and full screen button, and the fallback text appear if the browser does not support HTML5 videos. So let's run in a browser. Hello everyone, welcome to the code Ilyasoft. I am truly excited. Let's learn about video tag. The video tag embedded videos into a web page. It contains one or more source element to the browser. Choose the format it supported. So let's take the example. Video, start the video player, then multiple source tag, improve browser compatibility. The browser automatically select the first supported format. Controls lets user play, pause, mute, change volume and enter full screen, and always provide fallback text for the older browser. Let's run in a browser. Hello everyone, welcome to the code Ilyasoft. I am truly excited to welcome you to our brand new course. Let's learn about poster image. The poster attribute display an image before the video start playing. It acts as a thumbnail and give user a preview of a video's content. So let's take the example. Poster is equal to and then the image. It shows an image before playback. The poster disappear automatically when the user click play button. It helps user understand what the video is about. A high quality poster image make the web page look and more professional and attractive. So let's run in a browser. So now the image is appear and now I'm going to click on the play button. So now the image is disappear automatically when click the play button. Now let's learn about autoplay and controls. The autoplay attribute start the video automatically when the page load, while the control attribute display built-in video control such as play, pause, volume, progress bar, and full screen. So note this, most modern browser allow autoplay only when the video is muted. So let's take the example. Autoplay start the video automatically, then the mute attributes allow autoplay to work in most modern browser. Control display the play, pause, volume, timeline, speed, and full screen option. And post attribute show a preview image before playback begin. Combining these attributes create a better user experience while keeping the video easy to control. So let's run any browser. Now here the video is muted. So now go back and remove the muted attribute. And now run again in a browser. Hello everyone, welcome to the code Ilyasoft. I am truly excited to welcome to day 18 of the HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we will learn how to embed the external content inside our web pages using HTML instead of asking users to leave our website. We can display content from other websites directly inside our page. So we will cover three important topics: iframes, embedded another web page inside your website, then Google Map, display the interactive map on your web page, and the third is YouTube video, embedded YouTube videos without downloading or uploading them. So these features are commonly used in a business website, portfolios, blogs, educational platform, and company websites. Now let's learn about the iframe. The iframe means inline frame. Element is used to display another web page inside your own web page. So think of it as a small browser window embedded inside your website. So it is commonly used for embedding websites, documentation, payment pages, forms, dashboards, and external applications. So let's get the example. So now the doc type HTML is used for to tell the browser this is HTML5 page, and then start the HTML documents and set the language to English. Then the head section contains page information, support all international characters, then mark the web page responsive on mobile devices, display the browser tab title. The body section contains everything visible on the web page, display the page heading, and then show a short description. And now the iframe create an inline frame, specify which web page will be displayed, and make the iframe responsive. Then set the iframe height, provide an accessible title for screen reader, add a light gray border, and then this is the end the iframe. So let's run in a browser. So the heading is appear, then this is a short description is displayed, and this is the Wikipedia opens directly inside the web page. So user can scroll and interact with it without leaving the website. Now let's learn about Google Map. Google Map can be embedded directly into your web page using an iframe. This is commonly used on company website, restaurants, school, hospitals, hotels, offices. So visitor can zoom, drag, and get the direction without opening another website. So let's get the example. The first few lines create the HTML documents and make it responsive. Then this is the heading, our office location. So display the page heading, this, and then this is the paragraph, introduce the embedded map, and this is the iframe, create the iframe, and then contain the Google Map embedded URL. So you can get this URL by opening Google Map, select a location, click share, and choose the embedded map and copy the HTML code and make the map responsive. This width is equal to 100%, and then set the map height, then remove the border, and then allow full screen mode. Load the map only when needed, improving performance. The loading is lazy, and then this is the end the iframe. So let's run any browser. The office heading appear, then the Google Map load. User can zoom, drag the map, view satellite mode, get direction, and open the full map. Now let's learn about YouTube videos. Instead of uploading videos to your own server, HTML allows you to embed YouTube videos using an iframe. So this saves the bandwidth, storage, and loading time. So let's get the example. The first section create the HTML page, then display the page heading, then introduce the embedded video, and then create the embedded YouTube player, then set the video width, set the video height, and specify the YouTube embedded URL. So to embed your own video, open your YouTube video, click the share, select embed, copy the iframe code, and replace the src source URL with your own video embedded URL. Provide an accessible title, and remove the default frame border, and enable the support player features like autoplay, where allowed clipboard access, encrypted media playback, supported on compatible devices, and picture in picture mode, and so on. So allow viewer to watch the video at full screen mode, and this is the close the iframe. Hello everyone, welcome back to day 19 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. So today we will learn one of the most important topic for making your website search engine friendly. So HTML, meta tag and SEO. And this lesson we will cover 4 important topics: title tag, meta description, meta keyword and open graph basics. So you will learn how search engine understand your web page, how your website appear in Google search result, and how your link look when shared on social media platform like Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. Now let's learn about the title tag. The title tag defines the title of an HTML document. It appears in the browser tab and is also used by search engine as the clickable title and search result. A clear and meaningful title improves both SEO and user experience. So let's take the example. Let's understand this code line by line. The document type tell the browser that this document use HTML5. The HTML tag that is the start the HTML document, and language is equal to EN that is specify that the page language is English. And then the head, everything inside the head contains information about the web page. And this is the most important line, the title tag. The text inside the title tag does not appear on the web page itself. Instead, it appears in the browser tab and the Google search result and when bookmarking the page. So let's run in a browser. So now see here on the browser tab, my first website and then learn HTML. So this demonstrates that the title tag controls the browser title, not the visible page heading. So keep your title short, clear, meaningful and related to your page content. So a good title helps both user and search engine understand your web page. Let's learn about meta description. The meta description provides a short summary of a web page. Search engine often display this description below the page title and a search result. So a good meta description encourages users to click your website. So let's take the example. First we define the HTML documents, then inside the head section we add the page title and then add the meta tag and a name attribute specify the description. So tell the browser and search engine that this is the page description. So the content attributes contain the summary that may appear in a Google search result, and the body section simply contain the web page heading and paragraph. So when Google index this web page, it may display the title, then learn HTML meta description example, and then below that it may show the description short inside the content attributes. So user read this description before deciding whether to visit your website. So a good meta description should describe the page clearly, encourage user to click, be unique for every page and stay around at 150 to 160 characters. Now let's learn about keyword. The keyword meta tag was originally used to tell search engine what topic a web page was about. But today major search engines like Google no longer use it for ranking. But some website and similar search system may still include it. So let's take the example. Inside the head section we write meta, then inside the name attributes keywords. So this specify that we are adding keywords for the web page. So in a content we contain a comma separated list of keyword related to the page. So these keywords are stored inside the page source and are not visible on the web page. The body section simply display content for visitor. So let's run any browser. If someone views the page source, they will see the keyword meta tag. Visitor cannot see these keyword while browsing the page. So Google ignore this tag for ranking by including the relevant keywords is still acceptable for compatibility. So use relevant keyword only, do not repeat keywords unnecessarily and focus more on quality content and meta description. Do not rely on the keyword tag for SEO ranking. Let's learn about open graph basics. Open graph OG tag control how your web page look when someone share its link on social media platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. So these tag define the title, description, image and URL show in the search preview. So let's take the example. Inside the head section we add several open graph tags. The first OG, then the title, define the title, show in the social media preview. Then the OG description provide a short summary display below the title. The OG image specify the thumbnail image show with the shared link. OG URL contain the web page official URL, and then OG type define the type of content such as article, website or video, and then OG site name display the website or brand name. So when someone shared your web page on a Facebook, LinkedIn or X, then it show like this. So the title come from OG title, the description come from the OG description, the image come from the OG image, and the link come from the OG URL. So this create a professional preview that attract more clicks and engagement. So always use a high quality preview image, write a clear and attractive title, add a meaningful description, use the correct page URL, include open graph tags on important pages to improve social sharing. Hello everyone, welcome to day 20 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we will learn HTML based practices, which are professional coding guidelines that helps you write a clean, readable, maintainable and SEO friendly HTML code. So following these practices make your code easier for you and other developer to understand, reduce errors and improve website quality. So today's topic is clean code structure, indentation and naming convention. Let's learn about clean code structure. Clean code structure means organize your HTML elements in a logical and meaningful way using semantic tags and proper hierarchy. Instead of placing everything randomly, each section of the web page has a clear purpose, making the code easier to read, maintain and improve. Professional developers always organize HTML using elements like header, nav, main, section and footer. So let's take the example. We begin with the HTML documents declaration. This tells the browser that the page uses HTML5. Then open the HTML document. The language is equal to EN. That's attribute specify that the page language is English. And inside the head section, we include important page information. These tags set the character encoding, make the page responsive and define the browser tab title. Then create the website header. The header usually contain the website title and navigation menu. Add the navigation menu. The navigation elements contain links that help users move around the website. So create the main content. The main element contains the primary content of the web page. Create a section. A section group related content together. Finally, add the footer. The footer contains copyright information or additional links. So the web page is now clean, well organized, easy to read, SEO friendly and easy to maintain. Let's learn about indentation. Indentation is the practice of adding spaces or tabs before nested HTML elements to clearly show their relationship. Although indentation does not change how a web page looks, it's make the code much easier to read, understand, debug and maintain. So proper indentation is a standard practice followed by professional web developers. So let's take the example. Now create the HTML documents. So this is the start the web page. Then create the head section, add metadata and the page title. Then create the body. Everything visible on the web page goes inside the body, and then intent child element. Notice how each nested element is moved slightly to the right. So this clearly show that H1 belong inside header. Then indent the navigation item. Each nested element is indented one level deeper. Indent the main content. This make the hierarchy easy to understand. So proper indentation make your code easy to read, easy to debug, easy to maintain and least likely to contain mistake. Now let's learn about naming convention. Naming convention are standard rule for giving meaningful and constant names to HTML IDs, classes and files. Good names clearly describe the purpose of an element, making the code easier to understand, maintain and scale as a project grow. Professional developers avoid Wigo name like box, dev1 or temp and instead use descriptive names such as site header, main content or nav item. So let's take the example. So here create the descriptive class name site header that is clearly indicates the element is the website header. Then name the navigation clearly class main nav. So this tell us it is the main navigation menu. They use a meaningful name for list, nav item. So these names immediately describe their purpose. So use descriptive IDs. ID is equal to home. So the ID identify the home section of the web page. Name content section properly. Class main content, then class is equal to section title, then class is equal to section text. So these names make the code easy to understand even months later. So some best naming practice. Use lowercase letters, separate words with hyphens, choose meaningful names. Keep naming constant throughout the project and avoid generic name like dev1, pog, stem, class 1. So use proper naming convention, making your HTML easy to understand, easy to maintain, more scalable, more professional, and better suited for teamwork and large projects. Welcome back to our HTML Mastery Course 2026. It's day 21 and today we are going to learn one of the most important topic for every web developer, HTML SEO Optimization. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It helps search engine like Google understand your website and show it in a search result. So today we will cover three important topics: search engine basics, semantic HTML structure, SEO friendly content. So by the end of this lesson, you will know how to write HTML that is easier for Google to understand and can help improve your website ranking. So let's begin with our first topic. Now let's learn about search engine basics. Before optimizing a website, we first need to understand how search engine works. Search engine like Google, Bing and Yahoo discover websites, read their content and organize the information, and finally display the most relevant pages to users. So the basic SEO process has four stages: crawling, indexing, ranking and display results. So let's understand one by one. Crawling. Search engine use automated bots called web crawlers or spiders. These bots visit websites by following links and reading HTML pages. Indexing. After crawling, search engines save the page information inside a hog database called an index. If your page is not indexed, it was not appear in search result. Ranking. When someone search for something, Google compare millions of pages and rank them based on content quality, keywords, page speed, mobile friendly user experience and HTML structures. User. Finally, users see the best matching pages in a search result. So the better your SEO, the higher your chances of appearing near the top. So let's get the example. Let's understand the important SEO tags. The title appear, browser tab and a Google search result. It should clearly describe the page. Then meta description. This description often appear below the title in a Google search. So a good description encourage users to click your website. Then H1 heading. Every page should have one main heading. Describe its content. Order list. List organized information clearly, making it easier for user and search engine to understand. So Google does not see your web page like a human do. It's read your HTML code. That's why writing clean, meaningful HTML is extremely important. Now let's learn one of the biggest SEO improvement in HTML: semantic elements. Semantic HTML means using tags that clearly describe the purpose of different sections of a web page. So instead of using only div everywhere, HTML provides meaningful tags such as header, nav, main, section, article, aside and footer. So these elements help search engines, for screen readers, for developers to understand your web page much better. So let's get the example. Header contain the website title and logo. Nav contain navigation links and Google easily understand website navigation. Then main tag contain the primary content of the page. So each page should have only one main element. Then section, so group related content into section. An article represent the independent content like blog post, news, tutorials. A site elements contains related information or sidebar content, and a footer contains copyright information, content detail and additional links. So why semantic HTML matter? Semantic HTML improve SEO, improve accessibility, make code cleaner and easier for developers to maintain. Now let's learn about SEO friendly content. So having a beautiful website is not enough. Search engine also care about the quality of your content. So SEO friendly content means writing content that is useful for both users and search engines. So good content should be easy to read, well organized, original, reliable and keyword focused without overusing keywords. So let's take the example. One H1 heading. Your page should have one clear main heading. Then proper heading structure. So use heading in order: H1, H2, H3. Do not skip heading labels. Short paragraph. Short paragraph improve readability for both visitors and search engines. Bullet list. List make content easier to scan and help highlight important points. Useful content. Always write content that answer users' question instead of stuffing keywords repeatedly. So SEO best practices: use descriptive page title, write a unique meta description, use semantic HTML tags, add one H1 heading, organize content with H2 and H3 headings, write helpful and original content, use keyword naturally, keep paragraph short and add descriptive image, alt text means alternative text, link to the relevant internal pages. Excellent. Today you have learned how HTML play a major role in SEO. So we covered how search engine crawl, index and rank web pages, how semantic HTML improve SEO and accessibility, how to create SEO friendly content that help both user and search engine. Welcome to day 22 of the HTML Mastery Course 2026. Today we are learning one of the most important concept in modern web development, responsive web design. So a responsive website automatically adjusts its layout, images, text and navigation to fit different screen size such as mobile phone, tablet, laptop and desktop computers. So instead of creating separate websites for different devices, we built one responsive website that work perfectly everywhere. Today we will cover two essential topics: viewport meta tag and mobile first structure. So by the end of this lesson, you will understand how professional websites become mobile friendly and why Google recommends responsive designs. Now let's learn about viewport meta tag. What is viewport meta tag? The viewport meta tag tells the browser how to display and scale your web page on different devices. Without this tag, mobile browser assume your web page was designed for a large desktop screen, making everything appear tiny and difficult to read. So the viewport tag allow your web page automatically match the width of the user device and creating a proper responsive layout. Meta and then name and then viewport. This tell the browser we are configuring the viewport setting, and then width is equal to device dash width, make the web page width equal to the device screen width, and then the initial that scale is equal to 1.0. It set the initial zoom level to 100%. So let's take the example. Let's understand how this example works. This is the most important line. It's still the browser use the actual width of the device and display the web page at a normal zoom. So without viewport meta tag, tiny text, zoom out web page, poor mobile experience and difficult navigation. So with viewport meta tag, create correct scaling, mobile friendly layout and better readability and improve user experience. Now let's learn about mobile first structure. What is mobile first design? Mobile first design means we first design and build the website for small mobile screens. Then use CSS media queries to enhance the layout for tablets and desktop computer. This approach ensures the website perform well on mobile devices first, where most users browse the internet today. So instead of shrinking a desktop website to fit mobile screen, we start with a clean mobile layout and progressively improve it for a larger display. So how mobile first work? Design for mobile, add more spaces for tablet and expand the layout for desktop screen. So this process is called progressive enhancement. So let's take the example. Let's break this example down. It's designed by default for mobile layout. Here is the container and then the padding is 20 pixel. So initially the layout is designed for mobile devices, and each card here and each card appear on below another, making it easy to read on a small screen. Then this configuration for tablet layout. Here is the minimum width is 768 pixel. So when the screen become 768 pixel or wider, so the layout change and the display flex. It's now the card appear side by side. Then the desktop layout. Here is the minimum width is 1024 pixel for larger desktop screen, and the minimum width is 1000 pixel and margin is auto. So this content becomes center when a fixed maximum width, creating a clean and professional appearances. So let's run in a browser. Now go to the impact and then select the mobile device. So here is the card stakely vertically. So now the cards are stacked vertically. Now select the tablet device. Card display in multiple columns. Now close the impact. So now it's on desktop. So cards stay center with a wider layout. So the same HTML works across all devices. Only the CSS change based on screen size. So why mobile first is important? It faster loading on mobile, better user experience, easier to maintain, cleaner CSS recommended by Google, and improve SEO and accessibility. So today you learn what responsive HTML is and why it's matter, how the viewports meta tag ensure proper scaling on all devices, and how to use the mobile first structure approach to build layouts that start with mobile and expand to tablet and expand to tablets and desktop using CSS media queries. Welcome to day 23 of our HTML Mastery Course 2026. So today we are learning one of the most important topic in modern web development, HTML performance optimization. So a fast website provide a better user experience, improve SEO ranking, reduce bandwidth uses and increase user engagement. So today we will cover three essential optimization techniques: image optimization, lazy loading, and asset management. So by the end of this lesson, you will know how professional websites load faster and perform better on both desktop and mobile devices. Now let's learn about image optimization. Image optimization is the process of reducing image file size while maintaining good visual quality. So this helps website load faster, consume less bandwidth, and improve overall performance. So image optimization involves choosing the correct image format, compressing images, resizing image appropriately, using modern format like WebP, and implementing the lazy loading. So let's take the example. Let's discuss. So this is the unoptimized image. This image has a large file size, loads slowly, uses more internet bandwidth, and reduced website performance. And this one is optimized image. The WebP format provides smaller file size, maintain image quality, and load much faster, and improve website speed. And this is the dimension setting: width 600 and height 400. Prevent layout shifts, improve page rendering, and provide a better user experience. And lazy loading: this tells the browser to load the image only when needed. So some best practice: use WebP whenever possible, compress the image before uploading, and resize images to the required dimension, and add width and height attributes, and use the lazy loading for large pages. Now let's learn about lazy loading. Lazy loading is a technique where images, videos, and other resources are loaded only when they become visible on the user screen. So instead of loading everything at once, the browser loads content only when necessary. So this helps improve page speed, reduce initial load time, save bandwidth, and improve user experience. So let's take the example. Lazy loading. This enables lazy loading. When the page load, only visible image load immediately. Hidden image remain unloaded. As the user scroll, the browser automatically load the upcoming images. Performance remain fast. So some advantages of lazy loading: faster page loading, better website performance, and reduce server request, and lower bandwidth consumption, and also improve user experience. So some real example: website like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Amazon use lazy loading to load images and content only when users scroll. Now let's learn about asset management. Asset management is the process of organizing, storing, optimizing, and loading website resources such as images, CSS file, JavaScript files, fonts, icons. So proper asset management improve website performance, project organization, maintainability, and also scalability. So this is the complete project structure. Here is the folder of first project. Then inside in a project folder, we have a two file. One is the HTML file, index.html, and the second one is assets. Then inside the asset folder, images, CSS, and Java and JS file. Then inside an image, we have a two file, logo.png and hero.jpg. And then CSS, all the CSS file, and JS, all the JavaScript file. So let's take the example, and this example we learn how we can manage these assets inside an HTML code. So here is load the external CSS from the CSS folder. Here is the asset folder, then the CSS, then inside the file in a CSS folder. So it's load the external CSS from the CSS folder, then the image src, and then the asset folder, then the image folder, and then inside an image folder is logo.png. So it's load image from the image folder. Same has a hero image. Keep all website images organized. Then the JavaScript file. So first the asset folder, then the JS, and then script.js file. So it's load the JavaScript from the JS folder. So some best practice of assets management: keep images inside images folder, keep CSS inside CSS folder, keep JavaScript inside JS folder, and use meaningful file names. Minify the CSS and JavaScript file and compress the images, and use browser cache and maintain a clean folder structure. Today you learned image optimization, lazy loading, and asset management. So this technique help create faster websites, better user experience, improve SEO ranking, reduce bandwidth usage, and professional quality web application. Hello everyone, this is day 24 of HTML Mastery Course 2026. So today we will learn HTML project architecture. So HTML project architecture refer to the way we organize all files and folders in a web project. It provides a clear structure for HTML files, CSS files, JavaScript files, images, and other assets, so that the project become easier to understand, maintain, and scale. So a good project architecture helps developer keep file organized, find resources quickly, collaborate with team efficiently, and maintain project easily and and build a scalable application. Now let's learn about folder structure. So what is folder structure? Folder structure is the process of arranging project file into a logical folder and subfolder to make the project organized and easy to manage. Instead of placing everything in one location, we separate files according to their purpose. So why folder structure matter? Keep project organized, make collaboration easier, improve maintainability and save development time and help project grow efficiently. So let's take the example. Asset store all project assets, then contain all style sheets files inside in the CSS folder, and then image store inside the image folder and also graphics, and JS folder store all JavaScript file, and pages store the additional HTML pages, and root file store the main file index.html and the documentation file readme.md. So index is the home page and readme.md explain the project. So some benefit: a proper folder structure make project easier to navigate, easy to maintain, scalable and professional. Now let's learn about file organization. What is file organization? File organization means arranging file logically and giving them meaningful names so developer can easily locate it, update and maintain them. Good file organization is one of the most important practice in a professional development. So some best practice: group the similar file together, use meaningful file names, keep naming convention consistent, avoid unnecessary folders, keep important file accessible. So this is the example of project organization, and let's use this project organization in our HTML file. So let's take the example. Load the style sheet from the CSS folder. This is load the logo image from the image folder, and this page slash about.html link to another page, and it's load the JavaScript functionality. So some benefits: good file organization provide faster development, easier debugging, better collaboration, cleaner projects and easier maintenance. Now let's learn about industry standard. What are industry standard? Industry standard are the best practices followed by professional developers and software companies to create clean, maintainable and scalable projects. So these standards ensure that every developer can easily understand and work on the project. So some industry standard rules: use consistent folder structures, use meaningful file names, separate HTML, CSS and JavaScript, write clean code, use documentation, follow the naming convention and build the scalable project. So that is the professional project structure. Here is the constant folder structure: asset, pages, files are grouped by purpose, meaningful naming, the style.cs, main.js, about.html and content.html. These names clearly describe their purpose. So separation of concern means HTML is the structure, CSS is the styling and JavaScript is the functionality. So documentation means readme.md contain the project information and instructions. So this structure can easily grow from 5 files to 500 plus files without becoming difficult to manage. Today you learned HTML project architecture, folder structure, file organization, industry standard. So by following these professional practices, you can build projects that are organized, maintainable, scalable, team friendly and industry ready. So this concept for the foundation of professional web development projects. Welcome to day 25 of our HTML mastery course. Today we are moving beyond the individual HTML text and learning how professional developer plan the real world website before writing code. So in this lesson we will cover planning websites, means understanding goals, structure and content, wireframe, creating the visual blueprint of web page, and the last is preparing for CSS integration, means organizing HTML for professional styling. So proper planning helps developers save time, avoid mistake and build scalable and maintainable website. Now let's learn about planning websites. So website planning is the process of organizing the purpose, content, structure and functionalities of a website before development begins. So planning act has a roadmap that help developers understand why the website is being created, who the target audience is and what content should be included and how user will navigate the website. So without planning, website often become confusing, difficult to maintain and efficient. So why website planning matter? Website planning helps save development time, improve organization, create better user experience, reduce features, redesign cost and build clear project goals. So some important steps and website planning. First step is define the purpose, means determine what the website should accomplish. Example: portfolio website, business website, e-commerce store or educational website. Next step, plan structure. Organize all page logically. Example means home is our main page and then inside in a home about services, portfolio, contact. The third step is content strategy. Decide what content belong on each page. So let's take the example. In this example, H1 define the project title, goal section explain website for purpose, and audience section identifies the users, and the pages section list website structure, and feature section define the functionality requirements. So this create a clear roadmap before development begin. Now let's learn about wireframes. A wireframe is a simple visual blueprint of a web page that show the placement of elements before designing the final website. So wireframe focus on layout, structure, content placement, navigation flow. So wireframe do not focus on colors, animations, or visual styling. So why wireframe matter? Wireframe helps developer to plan layout before coding, improve communication, save development time, focus on content structure, and easily modify design. So let's take the example. Here is the logo and then the menu, and below this logo and menu, here is the that is the header section, and this is the hero section, and below this is the cards, and here is the footer. So let's take the example. Header contains logo and navigation menu, and the hero section display the main content area, and the feature section show the services or website features, and a footer contain copyright information, link, and contact details. So this structure become the blueprint for the final website design. Now let's learn about preparing for CSS integration. So preparing HTML for CSS integration means writing clean, organized, and semantic HTML that can easily be styled using CSS. So professional developers separate structure. For structure, use HTML. For designing, use CSS. And for functionality, use JavaScript. So this separation creates the maintainable and scalable project. So some best practice. Step 1. Use semantic HTML. Means use meaningful text like header, nav, main, section, footer. So some benefit. Better SEO, better accessibility, and easier CSS styling. Step 2. Use clear class names. Example, hero section, main nav, service card, footer link, and avoid box 1, D2, test 1, 2, 3. These names avoid. Don't use these. And step 3. Organize files properly. Means project structure like the project main folder, root folder, then index.html, then CSS folder, JS folder, and images folder. And step 4. Use external style sheet. Example like link and the real, and then define that is the style sheet, and then inside a script specify the path where the style.css file is located. So some benefit for clear HTML, cleaner HTML, reusable CSS, and easier to maintenance. So let's take the example. Here is the semantic tag is header, main, section, and footer. So these create the meaningful page structure. And in some class names, site header, main nav, hero, btn primary. So these provide hooks for CSS styling. External CSS. This line is keep design separate from HTML. So organize structure, the HTML remain clean, readable, and ready for professional CSS styling. So in a coming course, we will begin transforming our plain HTML structure into fully styled website using CSS. If you found this tutorial helpful, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to Ilyasoft, and share this course with your friends who want to learn web development from scratch. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Happy coding.